semi-news segment for us where we're going to touch upon news as well, because I think informing is half the battle, as G.I. Joe would say. So this is our top travel news that we've seen. This is interesting, babe. Solo travelers are facing higher airfare costs.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I've seen it in the cruise world. I've even seen it in when groups and tours and stuff like that. Whenever I've booked travel, there's always like a single supplement, because obviously they rather have two people on the trip or in the room versus one. So for instance, I just did a travel for a solo traveler who's doing a 12-day group tour with a small group under 10 people. And they charged that client of mine an extra $1,000 because she's not coming with anybody and she's getting a solo room. And that happens a lot in the cruise world. So this is very interesting that now they're doing this in the world of airfare.
Yeah, so they said it was significant though, which I think it's a bummer. Like, you're not really encouraging solo traveling at all. Like, if you look here at our notes, they're talking about, like, an example, a United flight from Chicago to Peoria was priced at $269 for a single traveler versus $181 if you're booking for two.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, they're making more money if two people are there. That's the end goal, I guess. But I just don't understand, like, what about people who travel for work? They're usually traveling solo. So how does that fit in? I'm surprised that those companies are not pushing back.
I know. But I mean, more on that. We'll definitely update you as that comes.
Just to give you a heads up, it's Delta, United, and American Airlines have been charging the solo travelers. So if you have booked your trip and it is a solo travel, double check your price and see. So that's something that's a big concern.
Well, here's a good tip. If you are going to travel alone, go through one of us, a travel advisor, which we could definitely scan the most efficient travel options and
in live, like within every 20 to 30 minutes, airfare changes price, just so you know. So don't think like, oh, I need to cash out my cookies because the price was this price, earlier today, and now it's this price. That's for everybody, travel agents and everything. So it's good to go through a travel advisor because we can actually hold the ticket for you for 24 hours with that price, because it does fluctuate. So yes, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So, okay. So the second news that I found interesting was Airbnb introduces hotel-like services.
Yes. But that's not new. I think that's maybe on the rise more in the States. Is that where it's
they're branding it now. It's called the Airbnb Services, which allows guests to book amenities such as personal chef, spa treatments, and housekeeping, which that's pretty interesting.
Now, I have seen that grow, especially in Italy, where I will book, let's say, through, it looks like a hotel, but it's actually a bunch of Airbnbs in a particular building, and they will offer kind of like a concierge service to those clients that are staying inside that particular apartment building, where they do offer some of these things. But I think maybe now they're actually putting a label to it.
Yeah, I think they're going to brand it because now they're going to charge you more.
Well, I mean, some people do like, listen, we go back and forth between hotels and Airbnbs. It really depends, A, who we're traveling with, B, how long we're going to be somewhere, and C, how many of us is there going to be, and if it's really worth it in the long run. I always suggest Airbnb for long term, or if you have a very large family and you want to be together, and I can understand that. However, it is nice to have like that quick turnaround of just going into a hotel. You're only there for 2 days. You want to have your coffee. You want to get your cab ready and just go. So,
but one of the services that I think that I love about hotels versus Airbnb is like the turn down service. I could call to the front desk right away, and if I need something,
extra towels,
service,
right? Which, if you do this at an Airbnb, and I know this because we have Airbnb'd our house in Italy, and we've stayed in Airbnbs. If you need extra towels, it's not going to be there in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Exactly. It's going to be there later that day So whoever is
If you're lucky.
managing, yes, if you're lucky, whoever's managing the property will at their time bring you those extra towels. So when I've done those other Airbnbs, I see this a lot in Rome, where you have like a concierge that's there managing the building. They unlock the door, they meet and greet you, they give you the keys, and they're a little bit more accessible. So I think this is a good idea.
I think it's a good idea, but I mean, you're talking about like, I'm sorry, I could call a front desk.
Call a cab. They call a cab.
They call a cab. Like there's just certain, and again, I think Airbnb is phenomenal, like what you said, depending on your situation. If you're gonna have a big family and that sort of thing, if you're gonna probably travel with elderly that need more,
a long period of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that Airbnb is fantastic for that, but I just think from a typical traveler, that's I just feel hotels are there to really pamper you, and I like to be pampered, as you know.
He's a little bratty.
I am a little.
All right, let's go to our next one.
All right, this one I gotta shout outs to Emirates. I don't think you sponsor my favorite soccer team or football team, but man, they just keep.
They just know how to travel.
Yeah. So the Emirates are launching a premium economy cab, which basically it sits on select routes. It's not all of them, but they are offering like enhanced comfort, like wider seats, enhanced legroom, and upgrading your dining options.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because maybe you don't have the budget to do main or business cabin or even first class, but you have a little bit more than your basic economy. Yeah. So this is like the step in between where you want to have good food on it's a longer flight. I do like that.
Yeah.
option.
And one of the tips that they're saying, which is like if you're traveling with a travel advisor, as you should, a travel advisor can actually book these seats because they're really on demand and they go by quick. So the travel advisor can hold that for you, and they can pretty much make sure that you get that extra comfort.
I mean, I keep saying this, that when you do book airfare with a travel agent, we are able to hold that seat for you for X amount of time, versus if you're going on Hopper or Expedia, you can't hold that price. And airfare is not usually refundable unless you're paying for that very expensive seat. And even if it's refundable, usually it's just a credit towards your next flight.
Yeah. So that's good news, I think.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. The next one is
Tauck.
Tauck. So I'd like to talk about this. And so Tauck is a river. They have river cruises all throughout Europe. And now they're going to be offering North American tours for 2026. So that's pretty cool because they are a nice tour company.
Yeah, we went on their river cruise. Boat. Oh my God. Talk about luxury.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for this because they're including things like 8-day tour through the Paradise Valley, Yellowstone, and Tenton. So I could if you want to, I think I want to do this.
Yeah, we love the Midwest, and we did the Midwest on our own, and we really just kind of a la carte our trip and picked and did what we wanted to do. But I wish we had a little bit more insight too on some of our trips because it's hard. And I'm planning a trip now for our family going on the Midwest, and I'm kind of doing what we did. But now, because we had our experience, I was able to even go deeper for this particular client and kind of weed out what was good and important. But to get that, I love all that history and the Yellowstone and
but I love how they when you incorporate Yellowstone and luxury. Cha-ching, baby.
Once again.
Cha-ching.
He's a brat.
I'm a brat. I'm sorry. Like, why not? Why not travel? Like, traveling is just as important as your home. Is just as important as your job. Like, you want to do the best, right? For your home and your job. Why not do it for your travels? Don't shortchange your travels.
Yeah, I always say this. Travel is an investment. Yeah. They're making memories. Kids are going to remember that. You guys are going to remember that. They're nice bonding experiences.
And why not have like some caviar?
Therapy.
It is better. Like the only reason why we lasted in our marriage is because of travel, not because of marriage counseling.
Well, I want to say this, that if you are interested in having Tauck do your travels, they only work with travel agents. So you have to reach out to your travel agent and they will make sure that
your travel agent. Reach out to Dorian Destinations.
That we could put together that itinerary for you.
Exactly. So there you go. I like that segment. It's very informative, right? Did you like it? You like the flow of it?
Super duper love it.
Yeah, you super duper love it.
Super duper love it.
So that means a point for Frank.
Let's go to our next segment.